Okay, welcome. This is Mrs. Frazier. I'm going to go over 913 core problems. How can I solve the inequality? So the first page of the inequality solving is really an introduction. Not very difficult. The first question that's there, 924, says review what you've learned at the beginning of this chapter to solve the inequality 2x plus 7 is less than 12. Represent the solution algebraically and on a number line. So if I go to solve this equation, 2x plus 7 is less than 12. I would solve it like I would any other two-step equation. I would subtract 7 from both sides. 2x is less than 5. I would divide both sides by 2 and get that x has to be less than 2.5, 2.5. You could leave it as 5 halves as well. When I go to graph it, I want that important number to be in the middle. So if this is 2.5, I'm going to put 2 and 3 on either sides and count by halves. And then I would have an open circle on the 2.5 because it's less than 2.5, not including. And I would point my arrow to the left, less than. So any number that is less than 2.5 would be a solution to this inequality. So the boundary point is your 2.5. That's the number we have the circle around. And is it part of the solution? We would say no. It didn't include the equal to symbol, so it's only numbers that are less than 2.5. So 2.5 is not less than 2.5. You could pick 2.4, you could pick 2.45, anything as long as it is less than 2.5. In general, how do you determine a boundary point? Well, the easiest way to do that is to solve the equation or solve the inequality. And you're really solving an equation that happens to have an inequality symbol in it. How do you determine the solutions of an inequality after you have solved for the boundary point? Well, the best way to do that is to test a point on either side of the boundary point. So we would say we would test points on either side of the boundary point. Now, what does that look like? If I go back up here and I pick a number like 2 times 2 plus 7 is less than 12. We would check to see if that works. Is 4 plus 7 less than 12? Yes, in fact it is. So a number over here like 2 would work. It is in the area that we have drawn as our solution set. If I plugged in 3, which is not in the area, we would get 6 plus 7, which is 13. And we would say, no, 13 is not less than 12. So we would say no, and that point didn't work, and that point shouldn't work because it's not inside our boundary set. 925, absolute value is the numerical value of a number without its sign. Absolute value can represent the distance on a number line between a number and 0. Using the looking inside strategy for solving equations from chapter 3, solve the absolute value of 3x minus 5 is equal to 16. Well, if we're going to do that, we have to realize that the absolute value, the number that's inside that symbol, could come out to 16 or it could come out to negative 16. So we're going to do this twice. We're going to do 3x minus 5 equals 16, and we're going to do 3x minus 5 equals negative 16, because being inside the absolute value symbol, the absolute value of 16 will come out to be 16, and the absolute value of negative 16 will also come out to be 16. So in both cases, I would add 5 to both sides, and I would divide both sides by 3. So one possible solution is x equals 7. If I add 5 to both sides and then divide both sides by 3, I get that x is equal to negative 11 thirds. You could also do a mixed number, and that would work as well. So x equals 7 or x equals negative 11 thirds. Both solutions to the inequality, to the equation, I should say. This one's an equation. Henry is riding his bike along a straight road when he gets a call from his mom asking where he is. Henry says he is 7 miles from home. The number line below, with the integers from negative 10 to 10, represents the road Henry is traveling along. Place Henry's home at 0. So that's going to be home. Then mark the positions on the road, on the number line, where Henry could be when his mom called. Well, if he's 7 miles from home, he could be at +7. If he's 7 miles from home, he could also be at -7. So we would say the absolute value equation representing his two positions, the absolute value of, let's go with L. I'll say that L equals Henry's location. The absolute value of L has to equal 7. That when we take the absolute value of 7, we get 7. And when we take the absolute value of -7, we also get 7.